Hello everyone, I'm your host Shikha and I welcome you to another exciting episode of Import Hub Media. In this video, you'll come to know about the secrets of becoming a good reviewer. If you like the video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to this remarkable woman whose journey will inspire you a lot. She is an avid reader and an established author of many books. I'm talking about Dr. Payal Kumar, who has completed her Master of Arts from School of Oriental and African Studies, UK. She then went on to complete the Fellow program from Accelerate India, and she is now working as a professor and Associate Dean of International Affairs at BML Munjal University, Gurugram. Dr. Kumar is the editorial board member of several prestigious international journals and is a senior reviewer in A category journals such as Journal of Organization Behavior and Personal Review. She has published extensively, including 10 books with Palgrave, Springer, and Emerald Publishers. She has so far conducted workshops on academic writing for over 3,000 scholars and 600 professors at institutions such as XLRI, IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, FMS, TIS, and many more. We are very excited and happy to have Dr. Payal Kumar on our show. Hello, Dr. Payal. Thank you so much for accepting our request. Welcome to Inkpot Hub Media.
Thank you so much, Shikha.
Ma'am, you have lived in 4 countries. Can you please give us a little background of yourself as a world citizen?
Yeah, so I was born in Zambia because my father was working there as a radiologist consultant on behalf of the British government. I had a
Okay.
fantastic childhood, and then we shifted to Fiji and then eventually to England. So my formative studies were all in the UK till my master's. And then I came to India in 1993 because I'd fallen in love with the country. And I've
Wow.
been in India ever.
Wow. So you describe yourself as a bibliophile. How has your love for reading turned you into an established author of so many books? How do you connect the dots now?
Okay, so I mean, since my childhood, rather than the playground at school, you'd probably find me in the library. So there's been a tremendous love for the written word in terms of a reader, and all throughout. So even when I've worked in 4 industries so far, and every time in my spare time, I would do a lot of reading. My last job in the corporate sector was as vice president editorial and production in Sage. So obviously, my teams were dealing constantly with production of about 68 journals and 100 books a year. So my job was such that I was surrounded by books and the written word all the time. And then I think, it drew me to a PhD, which I did at this young age in life from XLRI. It drew me, I think the written word has drawn me more and more to, not just reading, I'm now writing. I'm producing an edited book with international publishers every 9 months, so faster than a baby, right?
Yeah.
10 books. 10 books so far. I have another 3 in the pipeline, so it's exciting. Yeah. And I believe in the power of the written word too. I mean, I believe, books can influence us so much. They can change our thoughts. They can change our whole world perspective. So I'm a great advocate for reading.
Amazing. So, what was your motivation to move from a growing corporate career to academics? Can you tell our viewers about it?
It didn't happen overnight. I felt in the corporate sector I'd hit a glass ceiling in terms of learning. I knew a lot of things around me. So when in an industry, when I start getting told that, please write an article for the Economist or for, some good newspaper, then I realized that, I'm now regarded as an expert, and that completely demotivates me because my biggest motivation is to learn and then to disseminate information. So I felt I'd learned quite a lot in the book publishing industry, and I was getting more and more. I felt I could learn a lot more, and hence I applied for the FPM program at XLRI, not thinking I'd get in, but we had lovely interviews and I got in. And it was a long journey, about 5 years. And I think when I started the PhD, I had no intention of moving into academics. That was nowhere on the horizon. But I think as I, became more immersed in academic reading and writing, it changed something within. There's a paradigm shift within me, and I decided that academics is really the career for me. So, I'd say to youngsters, I meet a lot of youngsters and they say, I'm not sure about my career options. Don't worry about it. It's taken me half a lifetime to find my actual, calling. So keep experimenting out there.
Wow. So, ma'am, you also conduct workshops on academic writing at various prestigious institutions like IITs, XLRI, NITs, etc. What is this course about?
So I am very passionate about this academic writing and critical literature review workshop. I would have done it for, I think, over 3,000 doctoral scholars so far. I mean, I kind of lost count all over the country, and also for about 1,000 faculty. I'm very passionate about this. I'll tell you why. It's because whenever I go to an international conference, the best one in the management area, the A+ conferences, Academy of Management, I've been going there for the last approximately 10 years. So you have to send a paper or a proposal, and then it's peer reviewed, and then it gets accepted. I was even invited as a distinguished speaker once, which is a great honor. So every time I go there, I get so disappointed because out of 10,000 professors from all over the world, management scholars, we're only about 100 Indians, and so in 5 days in all these various conference venues, which is your Hyatt and Hilton and all these hotels which are together, and we're all running from one session to the other because they're 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And I hardly ever get to see an Indian. If I do see an Indian, I saw a woman in a sari and I went and hugged her, and I'm sort of like, where are the scholars on a global platform? It's almost embarrassing. A lot of Chinese, a lot of Europeans, and of course Americans. So I feel that we need to boost our academic writing skills. That seems to be a big problem. Mm-hmm. And I can say that with great certainty because, like I said, I worked in SAGE for about 6 years. So there's a stark difference that we found in the editing that was required for people who have been trained in their PhDs in the West and those who have been trained in the East, and the Eastern manuscripts required a lot more editing, extensive editing. I'm not just talking of language editing, I'm talking of matching citation references, not plagiarizing, and all that kind of thing. So it's become a passion for me to teach the younger generation that, how you format your paper, the packaging is as important as the content. And in fact, in my university where I am now at BML Munjal University, I'm Professor and Chair HR OB, and I'm also Associate Dean International Relations. I have also initiated, I teach a 3-credit course on academic writing and critical literature review. This year I had management and law students, so it was very exciting. And also when I was at XLRI, I used to teach this on a voluntary basis to every junior batch that came in of scholars because I felt it was since I had that publishing knowledge, and I'm also a reviewer, international reviewer, I thought it's important for me to share that knowledge. And I'm very happy that, since I left, they've actually brought it in as a full-time course as well. Very few places in India have this as a full-time course. It should be there. It should be compulsory in the PhD, course curriculum. I know places like TIS have it, obviously, but apart from that, very few places have it, and that's really sad.
So, you just mentioned that you're also an editorial board member of several prestigious journals, and you're also senior reviewer in A category journals such as Journal of Organization Behavior. So what are the challenges a reviewer faces and how to overcome those?
So again, it's very evident when you're reviewing a paper that it seems to have come from the South Asian region, I'm sorry to say, because we find, and of course I have a lot of discussions with editorial reviewers internationally, and South Asian, which includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all these areas. For example, there's certain lacunae in papers that we find. Number one, a lot of times there's no theoretical development. Many times the discussion section is not done, in great detail as it should be. We also find that, scholars will talk a lot about hypotheses that are supported, but they won't talk about much about hypotheses that are not supported, which is as equally important to explain. And in fact, that's a beautiful opportunity to explain, to go back to the literature and say, well, I had thought that X would lead to Y, but it's not actually happening. So maybe because of this theory and whatever, and other variables, it's not happening. So you would know, for example, the Hawthorne study.
Yes.
It was a study that if you increase the lighting in a factory, will it increase the work productivity? So they went in with a certain hypothesis, but what they actually found is if they increase the lighting or decrease the lighting, the productivity would go up. So their hypothesis was not supported. But because they came up with a wonderful explanation, which is, their explanation was that it's because researchers are there paying attention to the workers and therefore the productivity is going up. Is a very highly cited case. So that is a case of a study which was, the hypothesis was not supported, but the explanation was so wonderful. Do you get me? So,
yes.
We, as a reviewer, there's so many things we look at. And then, of course, there's the writing. You find citations don't match with references, details are missing. People take long quotations when you can only take 40 words and you have to give the page number and all that, So, and the other part is that if you are rejected in one journal, don't just simply copy paste and send it to another journal. Please look at the stylistic element. It's so important. So if you've sent it to a journal which says APA style and the other one says CMS Chicago Manual style, you have to completely redo the references, which again people don't do. Reviewers pick it up. They're like, oh, it's obviously been rejected somewhere. They've just sent it to us. You get me? So it creates a really bad impression. So these are a lot of concerns of reviewers. And then don't forget, Shikha, that we're doing this in our own time. It's a voluntary effort. I mean, every paper I read at least 3 times. And if we are giving a review, it's not a personal attack on you as a researcher. A lot of Indians take it very personally. We are actually spending time to show you the way forward as to how you can improve your paper. So hopefully it's publishable, right? And there's obviously some gem in your paper. Otherwise, why will we spend so much time in reviewing? I have with the Journal of Organizational Behavior and also Personal Psychology. Later on, the chief editor shares the other reviews with us. I have seen some reviewers, the paper is 26 pages and their review is 28 pages. So if we are spending so much time and effort in giving you direction, number one, please don't take it as a personal affront. It's not about you. It's about your work, how you can go forward. And secondly, pay attention to the reviewers' comments because these are people with a lot of deep experience.
That's a constructive feedback which a reviewer gives. So, yes.
Yeah. Correct. It's not destructive, hopefully.
Yes, definitely. The last question. What is your message to our aspiring researchers, especially in South Asia, who want to make a name in the research space?
So read a lot of A-grade journals. I mean, I tell my PhD students, you need to read about 3 to 4 papers a day, every day throughout your doctoral journey. And you have to bring it into your routine as if you're brushing your teeth. Brushing our teeth, we don't say I don't have time, right? But everything else we'll say I don't have time. So bring it into your routine as an absolutely essential part of your day, no matter what. Okay. I remember my kids were young when I was doing my doctoral. I've even read papers by the side of the swimming pool when my son is swimming and things like that. Bring it into your routine. Because why I say that is when you read papers, it's not just the content where you gain knowledge, but you start getting an idea of the writing style. Yeah, your introduction, the hook, how it's written, how people write the discussion section, how people write results. The more you read, the more it starts getting into your system. And then I think it does have an imperceptible impact on the way you write eventually, right? So just keep on reading a lot would be my first advice. Secondly, as I say, pay attention to stylistic writing. The other very important piece of advice I'd give is that do get your paper copy edited before you send it to a journal. The freelance copy editors are available in India at not a very high price. And what the Chinese do is they do it as a process. Their English happens to be possibly weaker than ours. So they get it edited and then they send it out. We send it out and then the reviewers will say, this needs to be proofread, which actually means copy edited. So let's get it done before we send it out. Let's have a perfect manuscript in every way, right? which increases your chances of publication. Be careful. Your desk redirect happens when there's a desk editor first who decides whether it should be sent out for peer review or not. So she only looks at 4 things, which is the title, the abstract keywords, and the references. She doesn't read the paper. So your references, she checks to see whether you have taken extant literature. So for example, if you're doing a paper on sense making and sense giving, and if you've not cited Carl Wake, then you don't know your literature at all. It'll be rejected there and then. And she also sees whether you've taken the absolute latest literature in the area. So these are things to bear in mind. What else to advise? I would advise that once you finish your coursework, you volunteer to become a reviewer. A lot of PhD scholars are a bit shocked, my God, how can I be a reviewer? But I'm not necessarily saying for an A-grade journal at this stage, but do volunteer because it's a wonderful learning experience. A PhD is largely about self-learning, right? I mean, your guide is there to some extent, coursework is there teaching, but then you learn from your peers, you learn from reading, and it's a lot of your self-learning, self-work. So, but another way of learning is through doing peer reviews to become a reviewer yourself. And in the end, you can always ask the chief editor, can you please share the other reviewers' comments? And then you can compare your comments with them. And if you see there's some commonalities, fantastic. And if not, then you learn from that. And I think that's a really, really great way. I would highly recommend that, yeah.
That's a beautiful advice to ponder upon. I think our viewers are going to learn a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you inviting me, and thanks for this initiative.
On the YouTube app and never miss another update.